Welcome to a special edition of the Creators Outlet. Our guest today is the interior artist on Rogue, the American Dream, now funding on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Fund My Comic. Hello, person in the late time zone.
Hello, I'm the person in the late time zone. It's actually late. Kitticus is the name. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. He's all the way in Norway. It could.
No.
No?
I'm not in Norway.
You're not in Norway. Oh, okay.
I wish I would be. I really like Norway. No, I'm in Austria.
Wow, I think you are the furthest person I've talked to on a live stream.
First time for everything.
Possibly. I have another regular that's out of the Netherlands, who's on all the time, who does an all ages book. And
you're starting to making me want to go travel.
Nah, you don't want to do that.
Oh, I do want to do that.
I've
been to Norway 2 years ago, and I want to go skiing there. It's awesome.
I have not been out of the country.
Out of the U.S., you mean?
Yeah, I haven't been out of the U.S.
You see, I'm still relatively young, so I'm starting to taste the blood, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
Of why people travel around all the time, and also with me, it's like I'm an artist most of the time, so I'm stuck in my room and in my district for everything I do. So I want to get out as much as possible.
Do some exploring.
Exactly. And whenever that happens, even if it is for work, because sometimes I go, sorry about that, sometimes I go outside the country for work when people hire me to do production event stuff, things like that. And that's always, it's 14 hours a day for a whole week straight, but it's vacation to me because I'm not home.
You're out of your room and still tired, but...
Yeah, but you know, the fatigue always catches up only at the end. Like, during the process, it's like, I don't have time to be tired. Let's go.
Yeah, you get on kind of like a rush and an emotional high, and you just keep going. Yes,
exactly. Also because you have that thought in the back of your mind, everything you do gets paid.
That's always nice.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty. I'm striking a pretty decent balance right now with my art stuff and my event stuff. So it's coming along.
I used to be a nightclub DJ.
Ooh.
I did that for like 30 years. I had wanted to be a DJ on the radio since I was like 8 or 9 years old. And then I found out that I would have to work for free for a radio station as an intern while I was in school.
Oh, that's such a cliche.
And wouldn't be, I go, no. I'd rather flip burgers at a fast food joint and get paid something.
Yes, exactly.
Than do that. And then I found out, all I had to do was start telling people I was a DJ. And they were like, it's not like you're saying you're a neurosurgeon. It's like, we'll take your word for it. And the DJ booth that way, you get your own music. Yeah, got everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Have at it. Okay.
Yeah, I can confirm that. I know a few DJs, and with them it was exactly the same. They worked something. One of them was an Uber driver that someone else I know who hosts events like that just met on a drive home. So he was driving him, and he just told him, yeah, I'm a DJ. So they exchanged contact information, and 2 years later he gets booked constantly by him. It's crazy.
Oh, that's always good. And if you're a DJ that's also an Uber driver, you could just put.
he was
in your vehicle.
I don't know if he still does that, but
you could just log on right after you're finished working. Go get grab a bite to eat quick and some a coffee or something, and then you can just work for like the next few hours driving people probably home from the club that you just finished working at.
Oh my God, that's actually I don't know how exhaustive it is to be a DJ, but that's not a bad idea actually.
It's more mental exhaustion than it is physical exhaustion.
Probably.
Song requests from a bunch of people. It's usually like, can you play this? Well, I'll see if I can get around to it. But can you play it right now? Because I'm leaving in like 10 minutes. I'm like, no, you can just put that on a CD and listen to it in your car, or, log into your iTunes and listen to it. But your
Yeah,
speakers are louder. Not my problem. And no, I cannot charge your iPhone.
Yeah, it's like it's the same here. People come and make requests, and the best reaction is to just say yes, and then put them.
I like to argue.
Wish them away. You like to argue. I understand that. But
I am a living, breathing internet troll, so
I understand that. Now with me, it's I'm, depending on the situation, relatively short-tempered. So when I'm on the job, IRL, I tend to not argue with people. At least I tend to not start a conflict. If they start the conflict first, then I'm all in.
I don't really start a conflict. Is I joke around with somebody, but it's in a very sarcastic way. But most of them don't realize I'm being sarcastic. So it's kind of like, did you just make fun of that person? Yeah. Why? Did they know? No clue.
Well, that's sometimes even better, isn't it?
Yeah. So tell us how you got into art, when you first started drawing, if you've had any professional training in the field.
Okay, that's okay. It's not a long story, but it's also not a short one. I do not have any professional training in the field yet. I started drawing sometime in middle school. I think it was 4th grade of middle school, which is the 8th grade in total. So I was 12 back then, and I drew all the way till I finished high school. Just class was boring, so during class I would just draw stuff on paper, and then I stopped after high school. I studied theater and I worked at the theater for a while, and then COVID happened, and I couldn't work at the theater anymore because everything closed. And then I just did random jobs to earn money, get paid, pay the bills, all of that. And then I had a, let's say, quarter life crisis, which led me to picking up drawing again, because it was soothing to me. I just sat down for 3 days straight. I did nothing else. Finished a piece that I had been working on for maybe a year at that point. Yeah, that was the moment where I picked it up again. And ever since then, I just drew every day, basically. Half a year later, I started to share stuff online. Another half a year later, the thought came to me, maybe I could pursue this as a professional career. And then another year later, I got contacted by Dave, who is the writer of Rogue. And the rest you know. I've been working on nothing but this comic ever since then. Okay, that's not true. I've done a few other single pieces, but that was the main thing. And yeah, it just happened, basically. And one day I woke up and thought, technically I'm a comic book artist right now. Wait, that wasn't supposed to happen within the next 2 years or so. That was the end game for me. My end game was always to draw a comic book, and now I've been drawing for 2.5 years, and I've already finished one, basically. The universe has a weird sense of humor. Then, huh? Oh God, I wish that was true. No, it just started. Like the best things are yet to come.
Oh yeah. So I'm going to pop up the first of 3 platforms that the book is on. So the book is Rogue, The American Dream, written by David Tomasi, art done by you, covers galore, done by every artist that he could get to draw for him.
Basically, yes. It's so many that I don't even remember who it was. I remember a few names, but I'm also terrible with names. So
I know on the morning roast this morning, he was like, I might have gone a little overboard on the covers.
He might.
Because I didn't say no to anybody.
But on the plus side, we do have a bunch of varied and colorful pieces to choose from.
Yes, there's cosplay covers. There's a really cool black and white Tim Vigil cover, the creator of Faust back in the 90s.
Yeah, it's actually really crazy to think that Tim Vigil drew a character that I designed. Wow.
Which is like really cool.
Yeah, that's something.
Like I know his brother Joe, who is also an artist and does stuff. All Joe really posts on social media are spicy pictures of really hot girls in like their 20s. But let's take a look at the trailer. I told him that this book seemed a little too real in the current political poisonous state that we live in over here in the States. It's like, wait, that's happening now. That's what they want to do. I'm like, oh, I don't know if this book's going to trigger me. I go, oh, wait, I'm old. Stuff doesn't trigger me. I just slap people when I get angry. That's all.
Luckily, I'm in Europe.
So let's take a look at the trailer, and then we'll go on from there and take a look at the goals, because there's a different goal on every platform.
Welcome to the New American Order. Please be advised of the following. No freedom of religion. No bread or processed meat. No smoking or alcohol usage. All civilians over 16 years of age must work a minimum of 40 hours per week. Anyone in violation of the New American policies will be deported or executed. Thank you and enjoy your stay. Sugar, your rules are starting to piss me off.
That is one rad trailer.
It's so nice to see these things actually coming together.
I mean, I don't like all those rules because
who would?
There's crazy people trying to get us to eat bugs for protein instead of meat, and I'm like, no.
No, thanks. Like, I can get behind beans, but no bugs.
Yeah, I like hot dogs and beans, or
Ooh.
Yeah,
sure. Why not both?
Beans with my breakfast. Like if I have a big eggs and flapjacks and stuff, maybe have like a little side of beans in there too. Now this is the main cover, which is an Akira homage cover. Akira is still my favorite anime film.
Ooh.
Running a close second to Ninja Scroll, but
yeah, then I picked a good reference.
Yes.
He wanted for all of his covers. He wanted them to be reference covers, and for the main one, I wanted to choose the reference. And since I'm an anime guy, Yeah, I chose Akira.
Yeah.
because
I have a 15-year-old daughter that's an artist too, who won't allow me to show any of her art. But she is amazingly good. She didn't get it from me. I know she didn't get it from her mother. But she got me hooked into, because I'm a story guy. I mean, sure, I like stuff that has like awesome, really good art, or like Alex Ross and Art Germ style art. One of my favorite artists is JML, the creator of Dawn, and I like that art too. But if the story sucks, I'm not going to like the book, and I'm not going to buy anything after the issue that I just bought. So she got me hooked on My Hero Academia.
that rings a bell, yes.
I've watched up to 4 seasons. Matter of fact, the last season I just finished watching, I basically watched in a 24-hour period. It's like 45 episodes.
Really, it's not that much. That's one of the shows that I still haven't gotten around to watch yet. But I do know it. It's on the list.
It's on the
But
bucket
you
list.
know how it is with time. It's a bit of a
and having none. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, but it's really nice to hear that.
So we have Scarlet, aka Rouge, who was given her name for her rebellious attitude.
That is correct.
Well, I think her bad attitude might have come from the red hair.
Maybe that was the first key characteristic that Dave gave me: red hair. Oh, okay, I can work with that.
As a ginger myself, I tend to have a piss poor attitude.
Well, I'm very glad that he gave me that direction, because from that point I knew, okay, red is my key color. I'm gonna work from there. Because sometimes figuring out color is like with all the side characters, even though the book is in black and white, I did colors for almost all of them. Because I wanted to. And because maybe they would appear on the cover. Like this one, for example, I figured this character that's the president of the New American Order, the villain of the book, or one of the villains of the book. And I designed her, I think I had 7 different designs for that character. But the color palette stayed the same always, because they've kept making changes to the design, and I always told them, all right, we can do that, but I'm keeping the color palette because I like it and it's a good color palette. But it was hard figuring that out, because I'm not good with colors, actually. Like, the one reason I was able to do it is because my software has a color complementary tool, which makes things a whole lot easier.
And
when it comes to
Catherine
that.
Vanderbilt
Yes.
reminds me of one of the villainous people from the movie that I can't think of, but I can think of the subtitle of Mockingbird there.
Oh, the one with, I know what you mean. Shit, I forgot the name. I haven't seen any of those movies, but I do know which ones you mean.
I've watched them all, but
I guess that speaks to their quality.
Not really. I get bored very easily.
Yeah, but I mean, from what I gathered, the villains in that movie is also basically like the rich establishment type.
Yes.
Like the pure decadence and all of that. And that was basically the idea behind that character too. So, I mean, for me, I'm so glad that he wanted to give her a big coat, because that also made things a lot easier, because she would always have that big coat around her neck. So if I would have a not as or a panel where she would be in the background, for example, I would just like, okay, I'm just gonna hide her arms. Like in the code, I'm not going to bother drawing that because sometimes there's a lot of detail on the suit and time again is the main thing. So, sometimes you have to make compromises, and my compromise was she has that big fancy coat over her shoulders. We're not going to see the arms in this panel.
And because I don't know the actual name of the movie, and it's bugging the hell out of me, it's just giving me links to Kill a Mockingbird, a classic old movie.
That is a classic, yeah. Mockingbird. It's the one with Jennifer Lawrence, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Something with tributes.
Yes.
I think the basic idea is, not the same, but pretty similar. That like this post-apocalyptic, post-America scenario where the populace is split apart in rich and poor, and that split is getting bigger and bigger, similar to how it is in real life. So just this idea.
The Hunger Games.
Extremes. Yes, that one.
I'm like
the Hunger Games.
Girl? Yeah, she's very hot and extremely insane in real life.
I don't follow celebrities, so I don't know, but I do believe you.
Yeah, because she was in some of the X-Men movies too.
Oh yeah, right. She played Mystique there.
Yeah, in First Class. Yeah.
Those were some good movies. Okay, First Class and Days of Future Past were. Half of them were good.
They're crappy Days of Future Past take on it, but yeah. So.
I haven't read the comic, so I wouldn't know. Damn.
Have you ever read any comics?
Of course I have.
Okay. So I have to ask. Well, some places comics are really difficult to come by.
Okay.
Or there's only limited versions of them.
Okay. Well, it used to be back when I was way younger. It used to be hard. We had like one comic store, and that wasn't even directly where I live. It was at the place next to Vienna. There's a big shopping center there, and they had a little comic book store, and that was the only source that we had back in the day. But it got progressively more. I read progressively more comics the older I got, especially when I started drawing myself. I would just buy comic books based on the art.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I bought a bunch of Superman comics, just based on what was on the cover. I never disliked Superman, and I actually gotten around liking the character because I bought those comic books. So I'm quite thankful for that. But for a plebeian like I was back in the day, and regarding Western comics, I still am a plebeian. But it was just a nice experience to find new stories just by the process of picking out books based on what was on the cover. I mean, sometimes I think you do that as a kid, actually. Just what looks cool? Oh, this looks cool. Is it cool? Yes. Buy the next thing.
When I was real young, I would buy what looked like, if a cover like really caught my eye, I'd grab it, and then I learned that I needed to flip through it first, because a lot of times, because I'm like twice your age, in the 70s, Yes, the 1970s. They would do like a really cool cover, but nothing on the cover actually took place in the book.
Ooh, that's mean.
It's like, here's a neat image, and you buy it and you read it. That character wasn't even in the book. What the hell?
Wait, like there were characters on the cover that were not in the book.
Yes.
That is not cool.
It's like you expect something similar to the scene on the cover to
Yeah,
take place in the book, like it would be like basically like them zooming in, and we want this on the cover, and boom, and it's like, okay.
I always thought that was the case when I see these old comic book covers with, like, for example, a scene from. I always assumed that was just a scene from the book drawn in a more dramatic fashion to hook people. Okay.
Sometimes it was, other times it just never happened.
That is really weird.
Like I've never read this particular book, but we had a couple local big conventions out here that earlier this month, like in the first 2 weeks, and a good friend of mine picked up a very old issue of Superboy where he got in trouble for something, and he is over Pa Kent's knee getting a spanking, except on the first whack of the hairbrush, it broke in Pa Kent's hand. That's the cover. I'm like, nowadays that would be like considered a spicy cover, because it would probably be Wonder Woman over Superman's lap. But so what are some kind of comics that are popular in Vienna?
I think it's similar to how the US is right now, that Western comic books are falling off and manga is taking over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Manga takes over everywhere, because it'll cost you about $6 or $7 to buy a regular like floppy edition of like a Batman or a Thor comic.
Really, that much?
Yep. Well, because they put special covers on them, and then you have to choose whether you want the normal cover, like the cheaper version of the cover, or if you want the card stock cover, so it's like a heavier stock on the cover, and those are like, some of those are like $7-8.
Okay. Now it's been a while since I've been to a comic book store, but I think we do not even have that option here. It's just you have an issue and it's just the one issue there, and you pay whatever is charged for it.
Yeah, and or here you also have the choice of manga that'll get you like 100 pages for $10.
Basically, yeah.
So are you going to pay 3/4 of that to get like a 20-page comic or 22-page comic, or are you going to try out like a new manga, see if you like it for like $10?
Mm. Yeah, I think it's also, I know that's an issue with me. I remember back when I was reading more Western comics, mainly Superman and Batman, that every second issue or so there would be something happening, and characters would reference something that was happening in another series.
Yep.
And then there would be a little message on the bottom of the page. It's like, if you want to know what happens, buy Wonder Woman issue so and so. And like, no. I don't wanna. I just want to read one story, and that's why I like these single story, like the graphic novel types. For example, Batman White Knight was something that I really enjoyed reading. That came out a few years ago. That was a really great story.
I'm still buying that book because I'm discovering in some auctions that they have variant covers that I really like and didn't know existed. And some of the ones that a guy I buy off of on a regular basis, he bought like a collection off a guy that would like take stacks of books to like local cons and get them signed by either the artist or the writer or somebody, maybe the inker or something. So like every
nice.
like third or fourth book I buy off of him or one of my other regular buyers is autographed.
Oh, that is really cool.
Like I got, I must have got like 30 or 40 copies for like $1 a piece of the old Valiant books from the 90s, all signed.
Holy shit.
So I'm like,
that is quite something.
I'm like, cool. I'll take it.
I would take that too. But to get back to the question, yeah, manga is definitely more popular here. Whenever you walk into a store, like at least 2/3 of the whole section is manga, the rest is Western comic books and or merchandising. So it's getting smaller, especially because I think comic books, especially Marvel ones, experienced a big boom with all the MCU stuff going on in the past decade, but that's dying down right now. So
because the MCU is dying because they're putting out terrible stuff. So
exactly, and you don't have things happening anymore. Like I remember, I was one of the guys who didn't know who Guardians of the Galaxy were before the movie came out. But then the movie came out, I watched it, and I bought some Guardians of the Galaxy books because I liked that movie, and that's just not happening anymore. But with anime and manga, like I think manga is way easier to read online than Western comic books are.
Yeah, because you can just search for scans of Chainsaw Man or something, and then you can just read the scans for free.
Exactly, but if you are a nice person, then you read the scans and you actually want to support your product when you like it, and then you go and buy the volumes.
Yeah, if I read something online that I like, I'll go and buy the physicals.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for One Piece to finish so that there will be a collection where everything is condensed in like 10 books and not over 100, so that I can finally pay money for that thing.
Oh yeah, especially with manga, the omnibus is a wonderful thing.
The what?
We call them
I didn't catch that.
The omnibus, which is like the giant oversized hardcover volumes.
Oh yeah, those are amazing. I love those. Like I always tried with the long running shows, I always want to buy those, but they only come out when the whole thing is finished most of the time.
Yeah, I know the creator that passed away a year or two ago. That was his title was Berserk. And
yeah,
of course was putting it out, and then he passed away. So the story's obviously not finished, but you can buy the omnibus, the big oversized versions, like in black leather.
Yeah, I know those. I always bought those 2 years ago. The only reason I didn't was because I saw them in Oslo and didn't want to take them back with me in the plane.
Oh yeah.
But I would have bought them otherwise.
You don't want to get charged that much.
No, I don't. I already bought way too much there anyway. Like my backpack was full of stuff. Also books. But like I tend to I actually only buy books when I'm not in the country, because here most books you get are obviously in German, and I hate that. I know people say German is the language of the poets, but I'm more comfortable with reading books in English. Because sometimes there's mistranslations or something like that, and
Yeah.
I'm not taking that risk. I want the original product as intended. So English books all the time. And I'm not capable of speaking Japanese yet, so I still have to buy my manga in English as well. But everything in time.
I only know a couple of words in German, so I wouldn't be able to read a comic book in German.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it.
Although I do have an Italian version of a Green Lantern #1 that was put out by Panani Press just because I loved the cover so much. But it was an import, so it cost me $25 a piece for like $2-3 books.
Crap. Yeah, but sometimes overseas they have other covers than you do.
Oh yeah, like I had never seen this cover before, and it was specifically for the Italian audience. So I'm like, this cover is like the best cover I've ever seen on a Green Lantern book in my life. So,
I mean, if you're a collector, then
well, I figured what I could do is I could buy 2 of them for $50, and then I could probably sell one of them. Apparently, nobody wanted to buy a comic that they couldn't read because they weren't Italian.
You should have just found someone who wants to read it and also speaks Italian.
I tried. It didn't work. So I still have 2 copies.
Do people not speak Italian in the US?
Only the bad words.
Only the bad words, of course.
unless they're like immigrants from Italy, then obviously they speak fluently.
Well, I don't blame you. No one speaks Italian here either.
Oh, okay, well there you go. And then you get Chad Spencer here, which is kind of like the underboss trying to get out of the wasteland by any means possible. By carrying
he's our second antagonist, and as you said, he's the, what would you call it, king of the wastelands? Let's call him that. And he wants to get out of that position. He absolutely despises it. He was also fun to design because I only got the name from Dave, but that was enough. Like, okay, Chad Spencer. What the fuck is a Chad Spencer? That line even made it into the book, by the way. just a big, tall, blonde douche, basically, with some glasses added in because I really like that.
I mean, it makes sense because usually, anytime I've run into anybody who was named Chad, they're very bougie and uppity and cocky and full of douchebaggery. So,
but I had really fun drawing him actually because first he is the most prevalent dude in the book. So as you told me earlier, like most of the things I do is boobies. Guilty as charged. So I had real fun drawing him because he was a guy, and also his snarky attitude and what an asshole he is. It was just fun putting him into scenarios, and testing things out with him. My male anatomy has been getting a bit weak anyway, so Chad Spencer has a special place in my progression as an artist. He's not the only male character in the book, but he's the most present one. And for him also, I did all the colors, despite the book being in black and white, because I just wanted to do some colors on him. I really liked the idea of him with the green. I don't know why, it was just the first color that popped into my head when Dave told me Chad Spencer, second bad guy, complete douche. He looks like he sounds like someone who would wear green. I don't know if that's prejudice or not.
No.
But maybe down the line, if Dave allows it and pays me for it, I will do a colored version. Should just not let the work on the color palettes go to waste.
And off to the right, there's a New Mutants homage cover based on the first appearance of Cable.
Ooh, you know a lot more history on that than I do.
Like I said, I'm old.
Maybe I'm just young.
Yeah, that too.
Maybe both. Yeah, we did so many X-Men homages, or especially to Marvel, that sometimes people kept complaining about it. Like we had one person say that Rogue uses rip-off Wolverine claws, which is like, I mean, they're not wrong. What's the problem?
It's hand spikes. They're not
exactly.
They're not claws coming out of her.
Exactly.
They're like brass knucks with spikes on them.
And we had someone complain that the name Rogue is confusing because of Rogue from X-Men. Like, is that an X-Men comic? No.
It's like, if this was based on Rogue from the X-Men, you would have already received 30 cease and desist letters from Disney.
Basically, yes. But those, let's call them allegations for lack of a better word. Like the bunch of X-Men covers probably didn't help that impression.
Yeah.
But Dave himself, he's a real comic geek like you, so he knows a lot of bunch of stuff. He grew up with that. So the whole idea behind the comic is, or the incident behind the comic is that he just one day decided to just make one himself because he's just such a big fan of reading comic books and he always buys them regularly.
Yeah, and you can tell from the subject matter. Oh my God!
What is it?
There is a bat in my house.
Oh, I had that happen to me 2 years ago. There's nothing you can do about it.
But
Open the window and hope it leaves.
I can't. I'm in a wheelchair.
Ah, Jesus, sorry.
So I'm gonna have to, unfortunately, probably cut this short because I have to get out of here before I get bit.
What is it doing? Is it on a ceiling?
It's flying insanely all around the room.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar.
Yeah, I unfortunately have to go.
I understand that.
But go back the book and oh man, this is terrible timing. Thanks for coming on, and I'll talk to you again.
Thank you for having me.
Whoa! We'll do something else soon.
We'll wrap this up another time.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Be careful.